Good morning, I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. And per usual, I have a lot to talk about and want to get straight into it. My guest today, Tom Taormina, he is a regular contributor on The Price of Business. Love what you bring to the program, Tom. Why don't you begin, though, by telling the audience, I think, of your very unique story.
Top of the morning, Kevin. Good to be with you again. My business is helping other businesses be the best they can be. I spent 14 years at Mission Control during Gemini and Apollo and was there for Apollo 13, and I've been trying to codify and teach the methodology we use to win the space race in 7 years for entrepreneurs and business leaders that want to have their own moon landing.
And now you have a firm, that does that exact very same thing. Same tactics, same techniques, the commitment to excellence. Give us the name of your firm. You recently had a change on that, and also your website, so people can learn more.
The business is called Apollo Business Solutions, and we are problem avoiders, not problem solvers, but that didn't work well in the title of the business. And our website is oresonance.com. It's short for Organizational Resonance, ORESONANCE.com, and please stop by and visit.
Yeah, absolutely. So what as far as topic do you have for us today?
Well, I came up with two terms that just kind of popped into my head yesterday, veracity and accountability. Now, I can't imagine that you could figure out when those words popped up in my head, but I thought they'd be a great topic.
I'm guessing sometime when you saw a website announcement, a Twitter account saying that they were running for president.
There was some stimuli like that that I remember. Yeah, I was kind of groggy after my nap yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And her announcements usually put me in a coma, so I know how that goes. So we're talking about Hillary Clinton, and I got to tell you, this is the most bizarre election cycle I've ever seen because I consider Hillary Clinton incredibly beatable. Certainly in a general election. About the only one who might not be able to beat her is Jeb Bush. Might be the only one who can't beat her. I don't think there's anything foregone about her. She's not exciting. She's not even excited. It's extremely weird to see the kind of people who are not running against her. And I almost get the sense that the Democrats want the Republicans to win because of the proverbial crap that's about to hit the fan economically, and let Republicans be sitting in the Oval Office when that happens.
Well, that could be, and I really didn't intend to get off on her first, but I want to get...
Well, you started it.
Well, I want to tie this back to the theme of the show in business in just a moment. But
sure.
Yeah, it did emote me to just do a little research and remember Chinagate, Travelgate, Whitewater Scandal, Vince Foster, Filegate, the Cattle Futures Miracle, Lootergate, the drug dealer donor scandal, the Ponzi scheme with Norman Hung Yuan, and Benghazi. That sounds like quite a resume for a presidential candidate. Quite
the resume, and that was the one selling point Barack Obama had. He had virtually no resume. Yeah, that is interesting, and the fact that she could even be taken seriously in light of this, I think is more. I think it speaks more of our culture than it even does of her.
It does, and let me get to that point. I've got a couple of statements that I've used for years and years in working with business leaders. The first one is veracity is a state of mind, not a contrived activity, meaning that you either have personal truth, you live it, it's part of your fabric, or you don't, and you can't bring veracity up to the forefront just when you need it in front of a public appearance or in front of a group of employees or customers. It's a state of mind.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, so what does it say about a culture, not only in the macro sense, but national? But, I think that is even a mirror of what's going on in smaller levels, like businesses and organizations. What does that say?
Yeah, I want to directly tie it to business because The second term I have is accountable is what you are, not what others hold you to be. So between the two of them, let's talk about business people. I've spent the last 12 or 13 years, a good part of my time, as an expert witness in organizational liability and in product liability. And while others are looking at burned wreckage of a car or a toaster, I'm looking at the companies that made them. And I'm sworn not to disclose the details, but I really wish I could write a book on some of the organizations that I have had to look at, and judges have sent me to factories in Shanghai and in Mexico City to see what's really going on with company leaders who have just completely abdicated morality, and their products and services are there for them to get rich, and one of them even admitted in deposition, we have an acceptable kill rate.
An acceptable kill rate?
Exactly. Yeah. I've got that little thing hanging on my wall here.
Wow. And what specifically was he meaning in that? I mean, well, I can interpret that a lot of different ways.
They have a consumer product that is very dangerous, and once or twice a year somebody dies using their product, and that's just the baseline for their reliability, and they're just going to kill one or two every year. It's the nature of the beast.
So he meant that literally, not even figuratively.
Not even figuratively, no.
Yeah, it sounded bad enough figuratively, but when you started talking about body count, that's really disturbing.
It is. Like I said, I wish I could share a lot of these stories with everyone and make sure that if you are a business leader, you take a look at your level of veracity, if there is such a thing, and your level of accountability in the products and services you deliver.
Yeah.
There's gaps, but certainly there's a morality associated with providing products and services to the public.
Yeah, it seems to me that there's some serious soul-searching required. Where does that begin with businesses?
Well, I think it begins at the home, like everything else. There have been generational gaps in societal standards ever since we learned to fish and hunt. And the newer generation is perennially accused of lowering standards of behavior. But, at one time, Elvis's hips were obscene, and that kind of fades away to even more egregious behavior modeled by the next generation. But where does it stop? Where did it start and where did it stop? Maybe we need the state of Jefferson. I'm starting to see signs of that again, where residents can be conservative or liberal, but they live under the Jeffersonian values.
Yeah, no question about it. And that's where the accountability begins. And so when you get brought into organizations, because we've had you on the show so many times, and you bring a morality tale often, which I think is so needed, where do you begin when you start helping companies from where they are to get them where they really should want to be?
Well, I start with what we call the true power. The owner, the person has the authority to fire or sell the company. In fact, I just got back from a weekend retreat up in the California wine country. That was really a tough assignment. But
yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, and we started with the owner. This is the third retreat we've done. The first one we spent time finding out what his core values were and what his core beliefs are. The second one we spent trying to relate that to his business. And the one this weekend was mostly about how do we measure success, how do we measure accountability, and how does everybody in the company benefit from that. If there's nothing in it for you, it's going to be just a traditional company of people watching people, keeping them from making mistakes. What we're trying to create is an organization that runs itself and has its own values. But we have to identify them first, and there have to be consequences, which brings us back to veracity and accountability.
Looking for actors and not reactors.
Exactly.
Yeah, Tom Taormina, always great on the program. Your website one more time before we let you go.
oresonance.com.
Make sure also you put in Tom Taormina and Amazon and be impressed by some great books that you've written. I love It Was Rocket Science. I think that's a phenomenal book.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, sir. We'll catch you soon. And I do want to remind the listener, best content here, including this interview, can be found over there at usdailyreview.com. And you're listening to The Price of Business.